218 pounds. He is the great Greg Gagne.
What's up? Happy New Year, New Year's Eve. It's December 31st, 2024. It's the final day of 2024, obviously. And what a way to spend it with Greg Gagne and Magnum TA. It is straight talk with
Happy
the
New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. It's good to see you guys again. Hope you guys had a happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Mine was very nice. And thanks to everybody for tuning in live. We're live right now and doing the recording. We're going to do some year-end awards, best in the world awards, as I called them. But how you guys doing, Magnum? Greg?
Pretty good. Pretty good. You know, we got
Good.
a little cold spell up here, and it went up to 40 degrees, and the ice started melting out of the lake. And now it's about 30 today.
Oh.
And we've had a little rain on top of it, so the ice is real. And of course, these goofy people in Minnesota are out there ice fishing.
No.
It was 45 degrees the other day out on the ice, and they bring 3 little kids out there with them.
My God.
Yeah, so I sit there watching. I'm waiting for them to go down so I can call the rescue squad to go get them. But I tell you, it's goofy here.
Real goofy up in Minnesota. How's it in North Carolina, Magnum?
The weather's been pretty mild here, and everybody's halfway been behaving themselves, but New Year's Eve, God only knows. I don't want to jinx myself.
Oh my gosh, I know. I got to work
celebrating tonight. You going out anywhere? Or are you gonna hang home?
I don't go out anywhere unless I absolutely have to. If I got to take somebody somewhere, or go to get some food, or go to a doctor, or take my dog to the vet. That's about all I get out for these days.
Those are the key bare necessities, though.
Yeah, I watched that Grumpy Old Men movie again the other day, talking about that ice fishing, and
that's what I was thinking.
I could fit right in that deal so easy. It'd be like easy peasy.
Well, these guys bring out houses. They build these shacks. They got 2 holes or 4 holes.
Yeah,
and they sit in there and they'll play cards with each other, and they got the lines hooked up and watching for the bobber to go down. They got a little bell. If it goes down, they get up off their ass.
They sit in a little house and get drunk and fish.
Yeah. I never really got into that, but we got into a lot of snowmobiling and stuff.
Well, you're too active. You want to be leading the hokey pokey at the bar. I mean, you're not. You would be where the action is.
Yeah. We were supposed to go out to dinner tonight, and Laura all of a sudden said, "Let's cancel tonight. It's cold out. She doesn't want to go out."
Yeah.
Which is fine. So I'm going to go down to the bar here for a while by myself.
There you go. Tip a couple back. That's
Have
what
a couple back, try to hike home and see what happens.
Try to stumble home.
Knock on a few doors, see if anybody will let me in. I had a couple of cute gals here in the complex.
Oh. Well, I'm going out tonight too. Well, actually, right after we're done recording, I'm heading out. Got to get some dinner and then to hang out with some buddies. But then I got to work tomorrow morning, like early. So I'm just like,
you have a podcast tomorrow?
No podcast. I'm working Whole Foods, slinging produce. Yeah.
Oh, do you really? Good
yeah. That's the old shoot job right now. So, but hey, guys, we're live on 4horsemannetwork.com, 1truesporttv.com. If you have questions or anything like that, be sure to get them in the comments section and ask away. This is our year-end awards, but I did want to get some thoughts. Did either of you get to catch Raw last night by chance? In that,
yeah.
Okay, there was the big takeaway is probably the CM Punk and Seth Rollins promo. But Magnum, what did you think of that starting off? And that closed out the show. And man, it's a pretty good way to get you invested and ready for Netflix.
It was a master's class. Those guys, them getting better than that interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always been a Seth Rollins fan for years, but CM Punk is he's on a different level. He brings more intrigue and getting you emotionally invested. You could be you could be empathetic the time Punk is finished with his dialogue, he's got people, cheering CM Punk. So it's some of the best. It's really the best interaction of anything, and CM feuds, all the way through. I mean, as he's come through. I mean, to me, he is the standout Moneyball player of the year. I know we're going to talk about, this, that, and the other, but for somebody to go everywhere from, being in the main event Wembley Stadium for the competition to, fully in the, right in the number one top, 3 spots in, the biggest wrestling organization in the world, in that limited period of time is unheard of. And he's just that damn good. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, because I've listened to him, commentate things that are totally where he's not the focus of it, and he's equally as good in that role. So he's just a really multi-faceted, talented guy that the things he says make sense, and I think everybody can relate to him.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, that couldn't have been any better set up last show before they go to Netflix and cue this up, because I mean, it's short of having I Quit, Last Man Standing, coffin match, bury them 6 foot under. I don't know what those two could do, because they're going to have to really do something creative so they both can continue on to be the entertaining people they are in the roles that they are.
Oh man, yeah, it was great stuff. Greg, what did you think of that interaction?
Well, I had the opportunity to work with CM Punk down in Louisville. And he always had a kind of a chip on his shoulder.
Sure.
He really did in his younger days. And I was a little worried that he may not succeed. And, he was like about my size, which in this era, you're going to really struggle to exceed unless you can do what he's done. And he has captured the people. He's that workman's, I guess, the workman's type person.
Yeah.
He fits right in with that mold, and the people can relate to him, and they get behind him. And I mean, when he comes out, and that those arenas just explode. CM Punk, and he does a fantastic interview.
Yeah.
You can feel it when somebody really is talking from the heart. And he really is. He believes what he's saying, and he believes in himself. And I'm like TA. If you're looking for a wrestler of the year, to me, that's the guy.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a second. But I think, Greg, you mentioned it too. Yeah, you've talked about him. You working with him in OVW and stuff like that, and just speaking from your heart and speaking with believability. And that segment there was epitomized that, like the way he came out and just spoke with conviction and fire and passion, and laid into Seth Rollins about I was like, man, how is Seth going to retort from this? Because I was like, man, Seth, I like Seth, but he's some of his mic work always can be a head scratcher sometimes. But he retorted back really well. I thought this was probably his best promo I've ever seen him do. And I think that exchange got me really invested for January 6th, tuning into Netflix and everything like that. So and then them venturing off into the side stuff, competition, AEW, referencing them, and in the past and history and stuff like that was real eyebrow raisers. But it got both those guys channeled it into the right form to get us ready for their fight coming up. And I thought that was a huge takeaway. And
they both believed what they were saying.
Yes.
And you could feel it.
Yeah.
And I've been a Seth fan for quite a while myself.
Yeah.
But not to the point where I put him above Reigns or a couple other people, Cody.
Yeah.
But he really came out with this as a heel. I mean, he delivered CM Punk delivered, and that's a match that I know I'm going to watch on Netflix on January 6th. Have they plugged that enough?
Oh yeah, they plugged it enough for sure.
Thought
Well,
I'd get one in for them.
I do got to say too. So Friday, WWE was in Pittsburgh, and I went to the show, and it was just a live event house show. And man, going to those, they're worth your money. They're worth the money to do it because it's just straight up. You get every match felt like a main event kind of match. Like you could have had that main event, any one of them main event Raw. It was Ludwig Kaiser taking on CM Punk in the opening match. And then Seth Rollins took on Dominic Mysterio. Then they had a cage match, Damian Priest versus Gunther. It was so well done and a lot of fun. And to what you mentioned about CM Punk and stuff like that, he is loving the live event scene. Like he just kind of leans in and has a little bit of fun. Like he was doing the Rick Rude hip sway, neck breaker, Rude Awakening thing. He was doing all this kind of stuff to kind of get the fans engaged and himself engaged too. And you can see some clips of him doing some different stuff online too at these house shows, which is a lot of fun. But fun experience for sure. So if they're in your town and it's a live event, I would recommend going to anybody. So just wanted to say that.
WWE is, they're the NFL.
Yeah, right.
I mean, without a doubt, they're worldwide, and they've built that company into something that everybody in wrestling could be proud of.
Absolutely, 100%.
Just wish we'd had an opportunity to be a part of it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get you back out there, Greg.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think so.
Shout out to a whole lot of people in the chat here. Triple E, the Nevers, CB, who's a regular. Shout out to him. Logan's in the chat here. Eddie Prather's in the house. So if you guys have questions, I see a couple of them already. Be sure to chime on in. Any other takeaways from Raw that you guys want to mention before we move on? And I want to do some like the year-end awards kind of stuff. But was there anything else that stood out to you this on Monday or anything?
I don't want to put a downer in there, but I was a little disappointed at the first few matches.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They weren't as crisp. They weren't as crisp as they should have been, but they're running pretty hard right now. So some were running out of gas. A couple of the girls' matches were to me, a little iffy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, it's still a number one rated TV show around the country. So what the hell do I know?
Well, yeah, no, that's the thing too, is like these year-end stuff when it gets into the holidays and in that realm and stuff. And I'm sure they're trying to look out and protect a lot of the talents before going to Netflix and making that new big move. So it's like, kind of hedging your bets a little bit when it comes to some of that stuff, I'm sure. But cool. Let's hold on. I had the list here. We do have a lot of different stuff when it comes to the awards. I thought, well, let's just start with an easy one. And Greg, you kind of mentioned it already, but the male wrestler of the year, 2024.
Well, TA came up with that, so let him start.
Oh, TA. Okay.
Well, I would have to give it to CM Punk because I don't think anybody has made as large an impact in two major organizations and within that same window of time that he has, and made the kind of noise that he has, and really just continue to operate on a really classy level. Mm-hmm. The Drew McIntyre feud was just, was just so epic and so, well done, and him just continually screwing over, Drew over and over and over again. It was like watching, a comedic setup almost, because you just knew he was going to come be the spoiler to the point where you were feeling sorry for Drew, but it was, he checked all the boxes for me. I mean, if it had been, if you want to look at it, take last year's WrestleMania, into it, certainly Cody was the baby face of all baby faces, and Roman, they set a plateau in a standard that was so high but it was all aimed at that one show.
Yeah.
So, it's very, very focus driven. And of course they had months of build up, that happened previous to it. So, looking at how everybody fell out and worked after the fact, I don't understand exactly what's going on with Randy. I was hoping we'd see a much greater play out of Randy this year because, he certainly, got all the chops and all the wherewithal to be engaged in whatever level anybody would want to. But as far as somebody that picked up the ball and ran with it hard after, the WrestleMania, extravaganza, Punk's knocked it out of the park for me.
Yeah, definitely. Greg, do you feel the same way, or do you have a different one?
Yeah, I do. I think there was about 5 people that really jumped out, but CM Punk came out on top. And I'll go with Gunther.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He made a case for him.
Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Came out of a shell there. He's never been out of his shell.
In his shell.
He's been out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he stood out. And then Uso.
Oh, Jay. Yeah.
With the yeet.
Yep.
He came out and Laura said, "What's that going on?" I said, "Come here and watch this." And 24,000 people. Yeah. Yeet. He really caught on.
Yeah.
And you can feel the emotion of the people when he comes out. They're really into his personality. So he's another one that stood out. But, all in all, CM Punk is at the top of that group.
And and that's a great case too. And the funny thing is, and I want to get your guys' follow up on this. Do you think the fact that he was injured yet for a good amount of the year, but in turn he still remained relevant, did that enhance his? Do you think his value as being a wrestler of the year because he was on the shelf, but still that prominent force? Do you think that was beneficial, Magnum, to him, or do you think
100% because you stayed vested in the comeback and the struggle and the humanity of a real injury that sidelines you, and they're so good at blurring the lines and capturing people's imagination where they don't know where things step in and out of the storyline, and did somebody really get heated, and when they hear these interviews that are so just going for the jugular of things, talking about, well, I may have left, but you were a kiss ass, basically. and all those things that, people fancy themselves so smart. They're not just enjoying it like they're watching a program anymore. They think they know more than everybody else. But when they start saying, well, there's really some merit to that, then it starts entangling and weaving reality and the fictional tale all together, and it sucks you into the story just like any good series or sitcom does. You're being entertained, but you're on the edge of your seat and you're helping fight the bad guy off the heroine or whoever's being attacked, and we all want to be emotionally vested in something. And again, they're just doing a really great job. I imagine, it's so funny, but all the things they did by like pulling back the curtain and we're gonna tell you the inner workings of the business, but yet they're doing all these things. They completely blur those lines again, and kayfabe was dead 20 years ago, yet they're using all those nuances and all those little tricks and twists and things today, like they're dancing a puppet on the end of a string.
Yeah.
So keeping them guessing.
Mm-hmm. Keeping them guessing. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
My male wrestler of the year was who you mentioned, Greg, too, Drew McIntyre, I think, and the same reason too that CM Punk was hurt for the majority of that feud, but that was still the feud of the year, I think. And
100%.
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah.
And like Drew being able to carry that after Cody goes to some place onto SmackDown, he was a big reason to tune into Raw. I think on the regular was Drew McIntyre, and he was somebody that could have plateaued, but this like after the Punk getting injured and stuff like that, but he made the most, maximized those minutes, and created a feud where one guy wasn't able to wrestle for like 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that really speaks to who he is as a persona. He got it. And to what you were saying too, Magnum, the blurring of the lines in today's realm of wrestling where everybody's aware of what's going on and stuff like that. Drew was able to do that on social media, on television, pulling from his personal life, and so much different things that I think he was just a unexpected wrestler of the year, but I think he was definitely my pick, I think, for 2020.
Yeah, I mean, the talent they have, it's hard to just pick one person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't leave Roman Reigns out of there.
That's true too.
You can't do it. And even the bloodline is so, he still had such an impact on everything.
Yeah.
And that whole crew did.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult, but I think we've hit it pretty well on the head between Drew and CM Punk, of course. And Cody, I mean, if it was last year, you'd have to say Cody. And he's kept that momentum going, which is hard to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that thing with him and Kevin Owens recently, that brought everything back to life for Owens.
Absolutely, it did.
And,
right?
Yeah, and then you go into the ladies, and there's some fantastic ladies.
Well, yeah, that's the next one.
Talk about the ladies later, but they've got such a well-rounded roster with so much great talent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, is it the Minnesota Vikings or is it the Chicago Bears, or who in the Super Bowl is going to be that number one team or person that comes out?
Right.
The Super Bowl is coming up.
I know. Speaking of the Vikings, you and the Lions have a big game next week.
Oh yeah, that should be a dandy.
That's gonna be real dude.
I tell you, I was watching those Vikings. God damn it, they got a great coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the receivers they have, I think, are the best in the NFL.
Oh, unbelievable!
It's just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to watch them. And they play Detroit next week. We'll find out who's going to get the number one seed after that game. Should be interesting. It should be a heck of a game.
Yeah, holy smokes! You talk about wrestling storyline.
Get off the track here.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. The wrestling storyline is the Lions and the Vikings going.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, you mentioned it. Female wrestler of the year. Does somebody have your eye on who the female wrestler of the year is?
I should say Tiffany, but she's not quite there yet.
Not quite there, I would say, but you could make an argument.
She's making a good impact.
Yeah.
But there's so many great girls, and Rhea coming back, I think, has really lit that up when they lost Jade.
Yeah.
To injury, her and
Bianca
are fantastic, either as singles or a tag.
Yeah.
I mean, they can carry it, and Rhea can carry it. There's a lot of them in there, and when you watch, oh my God, when you get old, this is where I start drifting. Brain damage.
I know a lot of
Laura says you've got brain damage, and obviously I do. I took too many chairs from Heenan.
From Heenan's the one to blame for this.
Oh, and Bockwinkel. Jerry Blackwell. But the ladies roster is really loaded too.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that kind of really stand out for me. And the champion now.
Liv Morgan?
Liz, the Simone gal. Oh my God.
Oh, on the other side of I'm trying to think who the other champ is. Who's the champ on the other show?
She was champion.
Oh, Nia Jax.
I couldn't Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She is phenomenal in the ring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The things that she does and what the women do with her, it's pretty sensational.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you see her the other night?
I didn't catch SmackDown.
She went over the top of the turnbuckle and hit her head right on the ring post, and it busted her open.
Really?
and she hit that floor so hard, but she got up and she kept right on going. And she is a real force in there. And she really, to me, really stood out this year, which, the other girls have everything going for them. And she has had some matches that are just unbelievable, the way she works.
Yeah.
And she works, for her body.
I agree. I think she's underappreciated a lot of the times. I think she gets
I think so.
a lot of unfair criticism a lot too, I think.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, she's excellent in the ring.
Yeah, I agree. Magnum, who would you be your pick?
I think I'd agree with Naomi. I don't think there's ever been a woman of her stature and size and athleticism for that size in the business to work like she does.
Yeah.
And to be able to embrace that heel role and just all in on it. I mean, she until Charlotte comes back, I think she's got herself firmly cemented at the top of that whole roster of women. She had to be something pretty dynamic because it had to be, again, a Charlotte with her abilities on the mic and her abilities in the ring and that athleticism and all that kind of total package.
Yeah.
To set a level that would just be beyond her capabilities physically. But she's one of the best women performers of all time.
Listen,
T.I., I'm a little miffed here.
Oh,
because I think you missed probably one of the best that's coming up. She's been up. She's excellent. She's probably one of the best performers in the ring. And you didn't even come up with that name.
Who's that?
Tessa.
When she has her hat in that ring, and that day comes, I will give her due. Yeah,
maybe she likes staying where she's at.
I mean, she's obviously blown in the TNA circuit now, and got her, herself firmly enrolled in a Jordan Grace feud at the moment, and frankly, TNA is making a lot of noise in the industry. So, I'm excited to see what they do in this upcoming year, and Tessa's role in all that. I just want her to stay healthy, and so that when she comes out on the other side of this, the best version of herself she can be, that she'll still have that opportunity, because she'll still be in her early 30s and still have plenty of it in front of her if she can stay healthy.
In her prime.
Right. Yeah. And look, I think she stays healthy, everything like that. She's, I think, the front runner for 2025. She's got getting back into prominence here in TNA, and having some good opponents coming up, like Jordan Grace starting off. She can really define TNA as that standout that they've always kind of had, I think, as for the knockouts division, what was been appreciated for that. And she can really put a big highlight on that, and put a big highlight on women's wrestling, and just I kind of dispel a lot of the criticism that she's gotten over the years and stuff like that, where it's just I'm excited for her, and I think it's going to be. I think she's definitely the front runner for 2025. It's going to be hard.
I'd like to catch you guys off guard and throw some of those out there.
That was a good one. You threw a little curveball, Greg. I appreciate it.
I might come up with another one here later for you.
Uh-oh. See, there is a Greg Gagne that played for the Minnesota Twins, but you're the one throwing the curveballs.
Yeah. I struck him out many times.
Yeah, you struck him out. All right, next up here, let's go with who was the most improved, do you think? If you took note of everybody throughout the course of the year, who improved the most as a wrestler? Magnum, do you want to go first on that one? Right?
Well, I'll give mine. You made not look at this as someone that needed that kind of improvement, but to me, Dominic Mysterio has elevated his game like linear, continually,
Yeah.
in and out of the ring. He's made the feud, with the women's deal, in a much more relevant light. He stepped outside of his dad's shadow and established himself as in his own lane and as a dominant heel. Arguably, could be the most hated real heel in the whole company.
Yeah.
So to me, watching him in there a couple of weeks ago with Gunther and seeing that not only was he not intimidated, and not only did he not raise that bar, but he was on a whole different performance plane than a whole lot than anybody else I've seen in there with Gunther. He had a swagger about him throughout that whole deal that threw me back to Eddie. And that kid, he's gonna be a future world champion without a doubt.
Man, yeah.
So
That's
to
a great
me,
thing.
yeah, it's not that he was subpar, but he has just upped the game and shown that he's so multifaceted, and his talent runs so deep that there's no telling what they could do with him if they turn the juice on.
I agree. That's a great pick, Magnum, I think.
Yeah, that really was.
Yeah. Greg, do you have somebody?
Me. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
He is on that one. Yeah. I think another one that really came out was L.A. Knight.
Ooh, okay, nice. All right.
He made a great impression this year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, and the crowd really gets with him. And he's nice and solid in the ring, works hard, has good matches all the time. But again, then when you look back, and you look at Dominic, my God Almighty, the heat he's got. They give these little guys all the shit all the time that, you're not big enough, you can't do this. I'm with TA on this one. Dominic is the guy.
Great name, and on top of that too, he's got that personality. That's what Magnum you were saying about Eddie. It's like so much of that stuff is like he pulls from the when I was a kid watching him in WCW as that chicken shit heel, basically Eddie Guerrero, and I'm like, dude, he's doing it. He's pulling the right things, and it's hard to believe that that's Rey Mysterio's son too. Because I mean the talent's there, but it's just in a different way.
Exactly.
Yeah, so good picks, I think, with Dom. And to go back to my female wrestler of the year has to be, I would think, Toni Storm. I would say she'd be my pick.
Toni Storm, huh?
Because she did such a great job.
That was amazing body of work that she did. Man, without a doubt. I mean, she was the most interesting thing on that entire program for months.
100%. And Magnum, I don't know if you feel this way too, but when I tune into AEW now in the past recent weeks, I've taken a note that they've done a little bit more storytelling when it comes to the backstage and some of the vignettes and interviews that they do. And I almost credit Toni Storm for getting that ball rolling in a lot of ways, because what she did and stuff like that, maybe that opened some eyes to, hey, there's value in doing this, which is a simple thought process when it comes to pro wrestling, is doing that kind of stuff. But I think they were so focused on the wrestling and the, flips and all that kind of stuff where it's like, I think that kind of, she could have been a motivator for that. Not saying that's necessarily the case, but made me think about it a little bit, So
I think it's because of Greg. I
think it is. They're listening to Greg.
Rob beats the absolute dog shit out of him, and they decide they were going to have to step their game up or take their ball and go home.
That's it. Greg, you're the reason. You and Toni Storm.
No, I mean, you know what? Old school storytelling done right still gets over with the public.
Oh yeah.
And right? I mean, CM Punk is a prime example of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Storm. I mean, she went out there and she did it just down to earth, realistic, from the heart interviews.
And then
And then she can do it in the ring too.
Yeah.
Putting the story together in the ring. That's that's what I know why they do it. I know why the matches have to keep that pace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, TV right now, before they turn the channel, the 8 seconds before somebody will turn the channel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I guess it goes along with all the video games and everything. The kids growing up, it's just boop, 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 this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they try to give them. But if you can slow it down, still give them the action they need and slow it down with the story, you're going to get much better results out of it.
Right.
And you can see that. I mean, where are the ratings gone from AEW? They've gone down.
They've gone down.
TNA, a little more wrestling,
mm-hmm.
a little more believability, credibility. They've been coming up.
Right.
You know, so there's something to be said about it. And when everybody says, oh, that old school stuff, bullshit.
Yeah.
You can still, if TA could work, if him and I could go, both of us could go in a ring and have a 40, 50-minute match, and I guarantee you we would have those people standing.
100%.
Not at first, but we would tell that story and take our time and build it up and get them. So they're you know, they're like, oh my God, what's gonna come on. TA, you got to get away from him. That little prick holding you down like that.
Well, I can't wait till WrestleMania 41 then in Vegas when that goes down.
But you know, I still get into that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just I'm so freaking old that it's past me. But if even WWE though, they do slow the matches down a little bit more lately.
Oh, they do. They definitely do.
Yeah, they do. They're telling more of a story in the ring.
Yes.
You know, they have to have those 6, 7 matches for TV, 6, 7, 8-minute matches. But then they always put in a little longer one that kind of tells a story and gets the people back involved if they have the right people to do it.
Right. That's a key component too. But what you're saying, Greg, makes perfect sense because on top of that, too, you had when I was at the house show, the live event, it was CM Punk versus Ludwig Kaiser, which Kaiser can wrestle. He can go and so can Punk. But what they did, it was just like low kind of, you know, not a whole lot of crazy.
They took their time and told the story.
Took their time. Kaiser bailed out of the ring, was being the heel, playing to the crowd, and like Punk, you know, was fighting from underneath a lot of the times when it came to some of that stuff, but then also played to the crowd too. It was that I thought it was one of the most entertaining matches of the whole night, and it just speaks to that. It speaks to what you know, you can still get value out of all that stuff, and I think that's even more value.
It's the two combatants, you know, working together, right. And like you know, TA would have been a great heel against me.
Ooh. See, I think you're more the heel, though, Greg.
I'm kind of that Weasley guy.
Well, he talking is more of a heel. Granted, he would. They would feel sorry for him immediately when I got in the ring with him. So it would be.
They do.
Man, well, I know Magnum, you're on that video game coming up, the Ultra Pro Wrestling video game.
Oh, are you really? Good for you.
Yeah, maybe we can get Greg on there, and then we can actually have that match and see what happens. Before that, okay, let's see. We'll have a couple more awards here, and then we'll my most improved.
Most improved.
My most improved would probably be. I'm going Braun Breaker. I think Braun Breaker starting off. I think a lot of his. Some people, like when he would do interviews and stuff like that, little stilted, little stuff like that starting off. But I've seen such a transition of him over the course of this year where it's like, okay, he's impactful in the ring. He's got a presence. They built him the right way. But on top of it, too, when he gets those moments to do those backstage segments or even interact in the ring on a promo and kind of be that condescending tough guy, I think he really knocks it out of the park there. So I think Braun Breaker is probably my most improved.
It's a good pick.
Thanks.
What do you think?
Yeah. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on Braun Breaker there?
Oh, I agree. I also think he's been, they've had trouble booking him.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it's like not real, like at one point they're like, pushing him to be a favorite. One moment they're getting him to, do, taking a shortcut, but he's supposed to be a tough guy. But, it's like they're weaving in between the ditches, weren't really sure which way to go.
Yeah.
With him. And the people, and working with Uso, working with Jay and who was vastly popular and really, really over. And, just different scenarios where the push wasn't consistent. But I think he's coming out on the other side of it well. But I think we even talked about that, in some of those key matches where, we felt like he needed to come out with the title because it could have really derailed, some of his positive motion where the other people, had the ability to, pivot and go in other directions and really not lose any steam. Sammy and Jay and, those guys are all involved in the bloodline and got things going on. Them not being in a feud with Braun Breaker doesn't matter one iota, whether, they, somebody did the favor or not, but it is critical, how you handle somebody like that in their infancy. But, even LA Knight, when they took the giant push off him, it doesn't make sense in the story of the matches because you make somebody so strong and then you're going to have him do the favor for somebody. Right. He's still got to be that strong, tough guy. The contest comes out to give them what they want at the conclusion of it, but the storytelling has still got to stay in the vein to where you beat somebody that really meant something.
Right.
And I can see, almost just like they flick a switch sometimes and put somebody in another role and not really think of the impact of how much is vested in this guy and, how strong the people were behind him. And yeah, he can do a favor, but he still should be that double tough son of a gun all the way through that whole thing. And then you don't just beat him out of the blue with where he just gets vested in wrestling. That's my biggest gripe about the business right now as a whole, WWE and AEW, in that they don't either one say they want to embrace baby faces and heels. Yet when you invest all this time and effort into a personality, people get with them. And then if they can just get beat on any given day by anybody just because they had a bad day, then it doesn't get anybody anything to scratch their head about, be upset about, anything. If somebody doesn't have to take some kind of shortcut, do some kind of little questionable deal, something. If it's just a sinking basketball game, well, guess what? Those things don't draw until you get to the championships. I mean, nobody wants to tune in and watch that stuff, week in, week out until it gets down to, the championships. And that's why wrestling always had that ability. So I'm not saying everybody's got to be a heel or a baby face, but the conclusions of matches have got to be more than just, okay, well, you're going over.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of a sudden you're just at that moment in time, you're just the polar stronger of the two combatants. And
God damn it! Sorry,
that's when you come out
in the podcast.
Well, I'm with you though, Magnum. I think the aspect there is that element where it's like you have those opportunities. Like if you have two guys or gals in a match and they're going at it, you have a way to get out of, make the person look strong and keep them strong and things like that. And
it's even like, the match with Cody and
Owens.
Okay.
And they talked about the chair and that Cody went for the direction of the chair, but Cody didn't drop him on the chair. Cody's back hit the chair. Did you watch that finish?
So did you watch it, Greg?
Cody did the neck breaker and dropped him on the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, but he didn't drop. But the way he took the fall, it didn't look like he was using the chair as a weapon. It almost looked like he fell more on the chair than Owens did. Did you? I mean, go back and watch it.
I'll have to watch
it. It looks like Cody potatoed himself.
Oh,
You know, it didn't look like, oh, I dropped him on a piece of steel, and that's why I beat him. Though, you know, he looked at it, they're trying to paint that picture. But, you know, again, it's good to keep people guessing and not be so predictable. But, you know, I mean, I go back to The Rock doing that master class on heel, you know, one-on-one alpha male. You know, this is what a heel is, and you know, being just dastardly,
right,
and you know, bully of bullies, and you know, all the just things to where you wanted to see him get his ass kicked. Well, you know, in the day, that's what somebody wants to see. Somebody that feel passionately enough that they want to see them get their ass kicked.
You're right.
Yeah,
that's the key element. That's the key element.
You know, when I look at Braun Breaker and look at LA Knight, TA hit it on the head. When you beat them the way they did, it really takes the shine off of them.
Sure.
And you know, as creative as the WWE is, sometimes they missed the boat with some of those people. And I was thinking with Braun Breaker, great amateur wrestler, tough guy, make him into a crusher or bruiser.
Sure.
You know, where he's bar fighting. He comes out, the keg of beer, and a glass broke out of the sunglasses. Yeah, I had a dandy last night out there, and you know, in the bar here, and I took care of about 5 or 6 of them that jumped on me, you know, and get the cigar out and, you know, go that route. Then you're building a character and a personality, and you can't outright beat him, but you can screw him good in the match.
Sure.
And he still keeps his identity as long as he gets that, you know, down the road match with the guy, whether it's in a cage or whatever, to get his, or you know, 20 guys around the ring for, you know, lumberjack match. But Breaker would kind of fit that character if you got the leotard off of him, you know.
Interesting. So yeah, that,
and
you
put
know,
trunks on him and just make him a rough, tough guy, you know. Come in with a little black eye one day. Where'd you get that? I got it in a bar last night.
He could take a lot from, I think, his dad and his brother, his uncle.
You know, but just to take a great athlete like that, and he's got great moves, it's hard to like him or dislike him the way they've got him. You know, he's jumping up on the top rope and doing a, you know, flying head scissors off the top rope.
Yeah.
Well, shit, now he's just like 9 other guys they got.
No, he's doing that because of Scott.
Because of Scott. Yeah, he's doing that because of his uncle. Because of Frankensteiner. He's doing that. He's doing the Frankensteiner. Scott, yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I think that adds an element. But Greg, I think
it could, but if then he's back to I don't know. It doesn't work for me. And I see a piece of talent there that's not getting the right direction on how he should come across.
Karrion Kross is another one.
Oh man. Well, I like what they're doing.
Another one. God almighty.
They're doing some fun stuff with him with the Wyatt Sticks, and then making him seem like a viable person that he's getting those up.
Big money. He's big money. Yeah.
Oh, he's very big money.
But they keep beating him.
Well, he's been getting wins now. He's been getting wins.
I saw that. So, but he needs a big one, a big win.
He needs a big. I agree, though. He does.
I mean, he's got the girl. You got the girl with him that works. He works
right.
hard outside.
Really screw somebody.
As most guys do inside the ring.
Yeah.
She's always selling it perfect for what's going on, and she's got the capability to work too.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the thing. They got a wild card there. She's not just window dressing. They got a girl that can actually work.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, they're so deep in talent, and of course they got guys that get injured and gals that get injured and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just really excited about the next iteration and what they do, with the new Netflix platform, and seeing Charlotte come back, maybe Becky Lynch come back,
Oh yeah.
and again, too, hopefully hopefully AEW does keep upping the ante a little bit, because even if they had one good program per show that
Mhm.
kind of you could follow your way through with, then it would be, it'd be more entertaining.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was thinking too, just even when tuning into Raw, I'm like, all these stories are contained on Raw, where it's like I can go wait next week and tune into Raw and still continue the story. I can tune into SmackDown, get a little added elements, but ultimately, like I tune in Monday nights, I'm going to get the same story that default. When it's AEW, it's just like, are they going to follow up next week with what they did the past week? It's
No idea. Yeah, you got no
continuity.
no continuity at all. Hey, before we close out too, we'll take a couple questions, but Magnum, I wanted to share this with you as well. We talked about this earlier on the show, and I know you talked about it on their show. Jerry Briscoe sent a text to me and Bradshaw, and then we posted this online. It's the leader of the pack shirt, Jimmy Garvin, Jack Briscoe, and Jerry all together. But there it is, the leader of the pack shirt. That's bloodied that you've been talking about. You've worn that a couple times, right?
It's hanging in my closet.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And Jimmy Garvin sent that to me this morning too. So yeah, that shirt's got more history than all these belts they got running around with right now put together.
Oh my God, I
Who were the
that.
three? I couldn't see
That
them.
was Jack and Jerry Briscoe, and Jimmy Garvin's in the middle.
Jimmy's in the middle.
Jimmy's in the middle.
Tell who that was.
Yeah.
I got Jerry and Jack, but I couldn't get.
Look at Jack's hairdo right there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, we'll close out with a couple questions here. Robert, pop up whatever one you want on there, and we'll get to answering them here on there. Eddie Prather, question for Greg and Magnum. Who in wrestling would you say is a little tougher on the enhancement talent than they needed to be? I got a couple names. He thinks Ronnie Garvin, Buzz Sawyer, and the Steiners. Was there somebody that was particularly rough on the enhancement talent, aka the job?
The Road Warriors.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they were way before the Steiners, and they absolutely destroyed people.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you agree with that, Greg?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were green, and they wanted them to be the toughest thing ever come out of the pike. And they figured if somebody green, they were just fair game, man.
I got Joe in the Indian Deathlock one night.
Uh-huh. Oh my God.
He was getting a little out of hand.
Yeah.
And he missed the knee drops. He got the Indian Deathlock on him. Uh-huh. And he was screaming I was going to break his leg. And I said, "You're effing right, I am." He's, "You skinny little shit, I'm going to kill you when I get up." I said, "Well, you're not getting up."
I'm keeping you down.
A little more.
I'm keeping you down for sure on that one.
Jed, the Vern always showed us enough things that, if somebody did get out of hand, we could at least scare them into thinking we can do something.
That's it. At
least
controlling the situation as much as you can. All right. What's another one we got here, Robert? Is Powertown ready for 2025? Logan asks.
Powertown is ready. And
yes.
Here.
Ooh, look at this, guys.
Whoa. Guys, get ready.
Here's an example of 2025 kicking off. This is Myers and Cardona.
Man.
And they are absolutely amazing. We had a few samples flown in from the factory in China, and it is amazing stuff. It's by about April, May, we'll have landed probably 18 more new figures. Ooh. So yeah, the 25 is going to be a big year. The lube line is launching, which is going to be is going to be a really cool thing. The homage to the original Duluth from back in the WCW era.
Heck
The
yeah.
4.5 inch tall, stationary, non-articulating figures. So we've got that going on, and just a host of things. A new element that we'll be announcing in January for TNA. The TNA figures are in the production pipeline now. We got this little thing called Chinese New Year. We got to hopscotch around where they shut the whole country down for a couple of weeks, which kind of throws some monkey wrenches in some of our timelines. But yeah, it's going to be a really exciting year. We've got some updated members on our team. One fellow that with 30 years of industry experience has come on board with us and helping us in our overall operations, and just really excited. But this is, absolutely our best work to date.
Wow.
Matt and Brian both have gone online and said what they think, and they've had quite a few figures of themselves made, and the attention to detail is just second to none, from the alternative head expressions to the belts to the Matt's robe that's a soft goods cloth and made so much in likeness of the original. It's absolutely crazy. This instant collectible, and there's only a limited number of them made, and this, as I hold it in my hand, will never be available just like this again. So the people that persevered and put their money up early on, there'll be a few scattered here and there that some folks will have and ultimately be selling. But this will be a couple $100 figure the minute it hits the ground, and people bought it for $99.
Right. And and the price will only go up after that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's awesome. Awesome stuff. Well,
that ultra line we have is second to none. I don't know if you can even find any of them anymore. Luke Fez, Vern, Brody Hansen, Kerry Von Erich, and Magnum TA, and they were going online. I saw a couple sold for $2,500.
my goodness. Yes, I have one.
We had them at what, $79.95?
Mr. Kerry Von Erich right here.
Yeah.
Hanging on out.
So if you can find one, good luck, but you're going to pay an arm and legs. So the ones coming out, get on them right away.
Amen to that.
Those pre-sales, make sure you get one.
Yep. Amen to that. So keep on tuning to powertown.com, powertownwrestling.com. You can scan that little QR code that's to the right of me and tune in and keep your tabs on that. But
everybody's we've had a few critical little excerpts coming out, but all in all, if the people hang in there, when you start a new company, it is tough.
Oh my God.
And TA has been in charge of that, mostly working on that end of it. I work with the talent, but he's done a phenomenal job, and you cannot believe the work that goes in to get this thing rolling. We were a little not novice with it because it was Steve Rosenthal who has been in it, but he always worked with China. We're working with China right now. It takes 7 or 8 months to get it figured done. We had no idea. But now we're online and we've got good people working with us. We made a lot of changes in Powertown for 2025. We're going to be a big impact on professional wrestling with what we've got coming out.
I'm excited, and fans should be excited too. And it's like lots of elements come into play when you're making toys and doing all that stuff. And when it comes to layovers and time frames and all that crap and the pre-orders, pre-sales, that Magnum educated me all on that stuff. So it's a tedious process, and I empathize with you guys. So definitely happy I don't sympathize, but I definitely empathize. Yeah. But guys, it's been a fun episode. What a way to close out the new year here. And can't wait for 2025. Should be very exciting. And it's an honor to be doing this with you both. I'm so happy. We've been doing this for over a year now, and it's a blessing. I consider it a blessing to interact with you guys week in and week out, and really appreciate you. Appreciate Robert behind the scenes helping us out.
Robert does a great job.
Does a great job for sure. So shout out to Robert, please. Thank you very much, guys.
Where in the hell is the cat today?
He is laying low. I'm surprised. Usually he was. So I was drinking some whiskey.
He's all over the internet.
I know. I post him all the time.
Instagram. The cat's on there more than you are.
I know, right? He gets the highlight. He's the star on my Instagram. That's for sure.
Laura loves that cat. She just said. She wanted to wish you guys a happy New Year too.
Well, shout out to Laura too. Yeah, happy New Year to Laura.
There she is.
You. And yeah.
Hey,
thank you.
New Year to you too, both of you, and have a great night.
Yes.
Be careful, TA. Don't be throwing
Happy
down
New Year
too many
to you guys,
Daniels
to your
tonight.
family too, Magnum. Party down tonight for us, Magnum. I'm gonna.
All right. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, and happy New Year to the fans too. Everybody, shout out. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA and Greg Gagne.